my fucking balls, dude.
The late 90s and the 2000s era was an interesting time to look back upon. Back then, you had Little Bow Wow, Tony Hawk, Yo-Yo Balls, 9/11, the Iraq War, Hurricane Katrina, crashing of the economy, the writer's strike, and worst of all, Family Guy got canceled not once, but twice. But in the 1990s and 2000s era, there was a spike of popularity in a sport where I can assure you there were very little blacks. Extreme sports. For a time, you really couldn't go anywhere without seeing some kid eat shit on a skateboard or try to rail grind with some fucking Heelys like Tony Hawk, Shaun White, and everyone's favorite skater, Lil Wayne.
Man, I was on my skateboard, kick, push, swag, I got my girl.
I will say, his skating ability is much better than his ability to play a guitar. You couldn't escape it. It was in your movies, it was in your video games, and especially in cartoons. The one extreme sports loving show that I will be talking about today is the one that is hailed as a Nicktoons classic, 1999's Rocket Power. Rocket Power is about a group of kids living on the shore of California, and their whole goal and daily activities consist of being the most extreme kids ever of all time, because if you're not extreme, you're lame and you're a fucking shooby. With enduring characters such as Squid, a 2-foot white nerd piece of garbage who looks like Anthony Fantano had hard midget sex with a Keebler elf. Squid sucks at sports and is the worst skater out of the group, and he's only in the group because he's super smart. That's pretty much it. That's the only reason why he's in the group. The only other reason is that he's actually like a pretty good goalie because he has like innate abilities. Reggie, the girl of the group, and sister to Otto. Her presence in the show is to only be the girl of the group because girls can skate on a block of wood just as well. And her other purpose in the show is to be angry and constantly sound like she's having menstrual cramps and scold main character Otto like in almost every fucking episode. Most of the time for pretty justifiable reasons, but the whole I'm the more responsible sibling archetype and moody bitch kind of character just gets irritating after a while. It just makes you hate them. Next we have Twister, a complete cunt. I honest to God hate fucking Twister. He's kind of stupid, his voice is annoying, and in the first episode of this series, in the introduction to this character, he is just an unredeemable piece of garbage. Like, Squid just moves into the neighborhood, and fucking Twister just has it out for him already. Like, I get it, he's the new kid, and there might be some hostility towards him, but fucking ease up, Twister. Seriously, go watch the first episode of Rocket Power, and tell me that Twister's not being a complete piece of shit. And lastly, essentially the main character of the series, because he gets the most episodes focused on him, Otto Rocket. Most of the conflict and the trouble these kids get in the show, I can say pretty much 70% Otto's fault, because I got to be the most extreme guy of all time, guys. The character who gets it the worst is Reggie, because unfortunately, they're siblings. And Reggie's anger most of the time in the series at Otto is mostly justified because Otto's such a fuck up. After a while, you just get so pissed off with his bullshit and antics and you just pray for an episode where you see this kid blow out his fucking knee. Most of the episodes of Rocket Power just feel really repetitive and boring. Most of the plots of the episode mostly go as follows. Otto sees or wants or gets challenged to do something extreme. He drags all his friends into the conflict, sometimes to the dismay of his sister. They do the thing and typically learn a pretty generic sort of moral or lesson at the end of the episode, like don't become a sellout, don't abandon your friends, and know your limitations, and no responsibility. And after a while, the formula just gets really boring and stale. Literally, this show is just a bunch of producers scrambling around just to create a show to appeal to the modern youth, and it's just awful. You name it, they do every fucking extreme sport you can name. These guys have probably done. Fucking snowboarding, skateboarding, skiing, surfing, roller skating, hockey. At least I can say in this show that the supporting characters are honestly not that terrible. And it's pretty sad that they are more fun and interesting than the actual main ones. Like, I enjoy the company of Raymundo and Tito. I would rather see a show about them just flipping burgers and watch these kids wipe out. Like, Tito is an actual excellent and funny character to me. Mostly because he just kind of became a meme.
Tito leapt forward and grabbed Reggie's undeveloped breast. He grabbed with all his might and ripped the skin from her body.
But despite that fact, he still is pretty funny in his own right. I mostly like Raymundo just for the name alone, to be honest. I mean, he's okay as a character. But come on guys, his name is fucking Raymundo. That's awesome. The art of Rocket Power was handled by the people who brought you shows like Rugrats, All Real Monsters, and Duckman.
Glass teacher.
And just like those shows, Rocket Power looks weird and disgusting. It's actually pretty terrible, and the intro to the show looks like a fucking creepypasta. These kids look like they're straight orange and look like they have fucking skin cancer. And the movies and specials to this show are really no better. They're the same as the regular television show, and things you would think would get improved, like the animation, really isn't, and it's just the same. It's just a generic TV movie. Rocket Power is just like a trite show trying to cash in on the extreme sports craze, and that'd be fine if the show is actually pretty good. It's like a win-win for both the audience and the company itself, but Rocket Power is just an honest-to-God boring series to watch. Like, a show about kids riding skateboards and rollerblading shouldn't really be that boring, but it just ends up that way. And I hate all the main characters in the show, and the art of the show is just not good. I really don't understand why this show is like regarded as a classic in the eyes of the public and Nickelodeon. Well, maybe in Nickelodeon's case, because there's like an absurd amount of like Rocket Power merchandise. Like, there's so many fucking video games based on this show, and they're all terrible. Like, this show is really being put in the same league of actual good quality shows like Hey Arnold, Rocko's Modern Life, and Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy, but where it really belongs is in your local landfill. I've been MarsReviews, and if you want me to review something really terrible or something you really like, please check out my Patreon page, where you can be entered into the Patreon review vote, and you can possibly win a video review of whatever animated thing you want. And be like Patreon supporter Theo Ash, who requested me to review Rocket Power. Fuck you! That's all for now, but if you want to see more of me, check out the Cartoon Planet podcast, or just check me out on Twitter, where I'm always tweeting about stupid bullshit.